Evening all, welcome back to Hell. We're playing Brutal Doom now. This one is this was a pretty good run through. I hope you can enjoy this one. A little bit more light. I thought I might bring enjoy the blood. Look at all that blood, isn't that lovely? It is a little bit kind of teenage cod kiddie, wispy little mustached man stuff now. But look, don't judge me on this, all right? Look at the viscera. It's funny. Everybody loves these kind of games. It's like it's like touching yourself in a way. It's kind of like, it's self-indulgent, let's say. So yeah, I mean, look, this game is just so good, and as you can see, the blood, the the body parts is obviously a part of it, but the simple fact is it's also quite a difficult game. I've always been just a big Doom fan. I just remember playing the original in my DOS, I think my brother's computer in his room, and he's like, oh, look at this, I've got something called Doom, and I'm like, oh, what's that? Having played things like, I don't know, Chucky Egg and Jet Set Willy at the time, and then to come into computer gaming and see that this was where the games had got to, like Alien Breed on the Atari ST was one game I did play, which was a sort of 3D shooter, but then all of a sudden this came out and it's like, how are they doing this? It's just like amazing. Doom just completely changed everything for me. It just became this amazing game, really. It was a cultural phenomena, as everybody says. I think it really did change shooters forever. I think it made shooters just a lot more tactical. Before it was a little bit like turn around the corner, stand there and hit each other until one gives up, turn around the corner, hit each other until another one gives up. It's almost the difference between Dungeon Master. Remember Dungeon Master? It was like I don't know, difficult to explain. Google it, Dungeon Master, an old Atari ST Amiga PC game, and it's like comparing that to Skyrim. Very similar genres, obviously all about fantasy and all that, but literally the mechanics of Dungeon Master was, you turn around a corner and you just stand there and hit the hell out of everyone who's attacking you. It almost became a bit kind of like WTF, it was all a little bit sort of silly. Now, Doom was the first game to actually make it so that you should strafe. Not that you could, but you should. It was also the first game that really gave you the ability to explore, to find secrets. It became, it almost opened the door to a lot of MMOs in a way, because in RPGs, because, okay, there's not much here to do that, but exploration and, the benefit of finding hiddens for the extra loots that you get, it all became quite a good idea. So, ID really did change, or id Software, if you want to call them that. They really did change the way that we play this kind of game. Shooters as well at this time were pretty terrible shooters. They were terrible. There was nothing redeemingly good about them at all. This is not a good scenario. Yeah. So I think really the game that you see here is obviously just a re-engineering of the Doom, which is actually a step forward, or a leap forward. They've re-engineered it again back the other way. So we've now, forward again, because we've now got a game here that actually is more, I think, akin to the today's shooters, so Call of Duty and Battlefield, etc. No, it doesn't look it, because you're already watching it, my friend. But to be honest, if you actually were playing it like I'm playing it now, it felt like I was playing Call of Duty or Half-Life or anything like that, where I could mouse aim. The mouse aiming was good. All of the guns had cleverer firing modes. So for example, this coach gun, as they call it, usually in the old Doom, you could only fire it, you only had one fire mode. It was, you fire and bang, that's it. Whereas what you actually have now is you can independently fire the barrel. So silly, but what an amazing sort of little addition that is. Most of the guns actually do have a fire mode, so it's obviously quite a good thing. I think in just general, you have to kind of acknowledge, it's funny really, because people kind of look at games with a bit of a snobbish aura about them. And let me explain what I mean, because for me, I have a belief that you should play absolutely everything. It's funny because it's like a movie critic in a way. You can't really be a good movie critic unless you watch everything, You have to have a real depth of games and, you have to have a real depth of knowledge of all of the different movie types and genres and etc. Now, what I generally would look to do with games is I want to play everything I can. So, I've played stuff that I just know I won't like Final Fantasy is not my cup of tea. I hate turn-based games, I generally would avoid them like the plague. But I tell you what, I actually got given by Nano a copy of XCOM Enemy Unknown, which is a game I never would have bought, and it turned out to be one of the best games I've ever played. So you can see that's really the point of these of gaming, is if you do treat it as a hobby, it's funny because you actually should try and treat it as an all-encompassing hobby. So I urge you, if you've never played certain games because you've always thought, well, that's going to be a load of old bilge, then go try it, go and see what it plays like. I think that has to be something that I think people would look to do. I know I certainly am like this. I really do have this kind of approach to gaming now, which is more kind of like, well, what would I get from this game if I play it? What am I going to enjoy from this? And some games really surprised me. So XCOM surprised me. Things like this mod here is a great example of where you should just be a bit more adventurous with your gaming. I think too often people just stick to what they know, and generally what they know is actually so limited that they're not really even proper gamers. They're not actually what you would call card-carrying gamers who you could sit in a pub and talk real nerd level with them about it. There's actually not many people who are at that level. Unless you play everything and you have a depth of knowledge. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I honestly believe this, and I think this is why I think I'm quite keen to, just whatever takes my fancy on the channel, I will play. I'm also quite interested in bringing sort of certain things like, this is just a really good mod. I just, you have to kind of call out greatness when you see it, and I think for people who play Doom particularly, if you really got a buzz off this game, I just urge you to come try this mod, and you will you'll remember your love of this game. And Doom is like, it is like it's like watching an old photo reel of your life in a way, because you'll remember what it was like when you last played this. I certainly do, and I remember every time I've played Doom. It's funny, that and Half-Life 2 have become the two games that I play through relatively often, because you'll always have something, you'll always find something, and there'll always be something to enjoy from doing so. But particularly Doom 2, and I think particularly the later levels when you get to Earth, they're just amazing. There's something so cool about them. I can't even describe it, bro. So there we go. I think definitely give it a go. It's just literally Google Brutal Doom as I die. And I think you'll find an incredibly good game that you'll have an incredibly good fun time with. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.